Hi guys, Michael here, and today we'll be reviewing the book How to Be a 3% Man by author Corey Wayne. Now the title of the book comes from the author's claim that only 3% of men truly understand the minds of women. And when it comes to maybe a very, not just an intuitive sense, but a more like cognitive sense of real self-awareness of what's going on in social situations, this statistic may be quite on point. Now, what's really great about this book is just the author's attitude as he writes it. This is kind of what I like the most about it and why it's really good introductory book for people who are getting into this field of learning social skills. Because the author really comes from a very enthusiastic and excited place where you can really see he's passionate about the material because it's benefited his own life so much. And he doesn't at all put a victim mentality onto the reader where it's like, oh, you've been victimized. Instead, he's really about taking personal responsibility and creating the life you want. And he's showing, hey, look, I was able to do it. Look at it. And he did it quite late in life compared to most of the readers probably of this book. And he's like, if I can do it, you can do it too. And this is great. The book is very anecdotal. And the great thing about the book being anecdotal is that I think a lot of the readers will be able to identify with similar situations and problems they have had throughout their lives regarding social skills. And being able to identify, they're going to really be able to draw similarities between the cause and effect of different things they've been doing. However, the downside to it being kind of anecdotal is it never really gets below the surface level of actions. It never really talks about the underlying principles that are causing the person to act the way they do that's getting them the bad results. Instead, it kind of just focuses on the things on the surface that the person is doing. So it's a little simpler in that sense, but still worth the read. So I'm going to start off this review by reading you a quote from the book for a concept that I think Corey hits correctly right on the head. One of the most important things to understand when you meet a woman is that women love mystery. That a guy that is his own man despite what others think about him or who he should be. They love a guy that is confident and goes for what he wants in life without fear. They want a man that is centered, one that is in control of himself, has purpose, and knows where he is going. A woman wants a man that she can't have her way with, and no matter what she says or does, she's not going to be able to sway him from his path or from his purpose in life. A true alpha male, a man who goes for what he wants and has positive expectations that he will achieve his goals, will choose his purpose and his passion over a woman if faced with the choice. Masculine energy, after all, is about purpose, drive, mission, succeeding, accomplishing, breaking through barriers, achieving goals, etc. The more you focus on and passionately pursue your purpose in life, the more attractive women will find you in general. A man pursuing a purpose and has a burning desire to accomplish it gives off a much happier, peaceful, relaxed, successful, inviting, confident, and positive vibe than a guy who hates his job, his life, and his circumstances. So if you're going to take away just one concept from the entire book, it would be that I just quoted. The fact that if you live your life in line with your values and become the person that you actually want to become, all the other things, such as relationships, will often fall in line. Because you're living in your life with your own purpose, in line with what you value, and then you're going to bring in other people who share those values. Corey also gives the great advice that you should become the person that you want to attract. This is very similar to the advice that I give my own students, which is you attract what you are, and you bring into your life only what you think you deserve. So by going down a path where you're pursuing your own life purpose and being true to your own values, you're going to bring in other people into your life who also share those values. And those are the type of people you're going to be able to have the happiest forms of relationships with. Additionally, Corey also makes the important point that you can't barter for attention or affection. That is, you can't buy someone's attention, affection, make them attracted to you by just giving them gifts or giving them unsolicited compliments or buying them drinks, right? Attraction is something that needs to be naturally felt. While I found the vast majority of Corey's observations to be correct, he sometimes confuses the causation and correlation behind what's actually generating attraction. He also sometimes misses the situational context and doesn't address the deep underlying principles from where the person's real actions and behaviors are derived. Overall, you want to be a person who embodies attractive traits. and to Corey's credit, he does point this out multiple times throughout the book. However, he also simultaneously advocates doing things such as always constantly trying to monitor a woman's level of attraction that she has for you, and then performing certain actions when you deem it necessary to try to bump up that attraction level. Firstly, such advice deviates away from the core concept of being an attractive man rather than just acting like one. Secondly, it puts you into a reactive frame where your actions are no longer truly authentic, but instead purposely performed to elicit a specific response from the other person. Authenticity and honest communication are at the core of what generates lasting attraction. Deviating away from these core principles will only ever hurt your results in the long run. Thus, I disagree with Corey when he gives advice such as purposely delaying calling someone back. Now, I understand why he gives this advice, because someone just starting out is a good way for making them not appear too needy. However, in the long run, a person who is actually self-secure, confident, and successful with a woman, they wouldn't think twice about wanting to play some type of validation games, such as delaying calling someone. And now remember, you attract what you are. So if you're a person who has to play validation games to attract other people, the people you're going to attract into your life is most likely going to be people who also enjoy playing validation games. And for me personally, that's not the type of person I want to be around. But then again, I assume Corey's advice is primarily to protect a person against appearing too needy with a person they just met by constantly calling and texting them. And I really do agree with Corey when he states that online conversation, texting, callings, it should primarily be limited to just setting up another face-to-face conversation with a person. It shouldn't be used to try to build a relationship. It's much better to be able to go out, have the social skills where you can meet a person in a face-to-face conversation, have them like you so much that they're excited to receive your call or text and will reply immediately to set up a further meeting. You know, that's going to let you that's like a hack in today's modern society. That's going to let you bypass all this online swiping and going for all these dates that go nowhere, because hey, yeah, okay, maybe you get great at texting people and can get them to meet with you, but hey, you're still going to have to do the face-to-face conversation. And if you don't know how to do that, then it's not going to go anywhere in the long run either way. So why not just bypass all that online stuff and just start with the most important thing, the in-person conversation. Corey also advocates that when a woman gives you her number, not to stand there to call it to see if it's legitimate. Again, this is advice that I don't recommend. Of course, whenever I get a number, I instantly send a WhatsApp message or a text just to confirm that I have it, and so the other person has mine, and then we can save each other's contacts. Again, what I think Corey is meaning is don't get a number and then be so surprised that you got it and don't believe it's legitimate to be like, having to call because you don't believe her that she would give you the real number. Yeah, that's going to make you look unconfident, that's going to make you look unsure of yourself, and that doesn't look good. But again, you want to become a person who would have no disbelief that she would give you the right number, and then just calling it to check that it's correct. Why miss out on a great relationship just because you don't want to verify that the number's real? Yeah, of course, don't act surprised that you got the number in the first place, but there's nothing wrong with checking to make sure that they entered the digits correctly. Again, you attract what you are. And if you're a person who's craving and looking for validation, you're only going to attract other people who are craving and looking for validation. And when two people like this come together, they form this very unhealthy push-pull dynamic where they're each giving and taking a validation away from one another as a form of rewarding and punishment. And this is not the beginning of a healthy relationship. The final advice in the book that I take issue with is that Corey says that within 3 seconds a woman has already sized you up and judged you on a 1 to 10 scale, and if she has found you at a 4 or lower, that you have no chance and you should just move on. Now, I do agree that women have very good emotional intelligence, and within 3 seconds they normally do size you up, and they're normally pretty accurate about it. But what I don't like about this advice is it gives guys, especially guys who are starting out and who need to be pushing their comfort zone and going into newer interactions, it gives them an easy reason to bail out early on and not get those reference experiences. Now, if you're a normal looking guy, I would say like myself, like an average looking guy, and you're in an environment talking to a woman who you have never met before, and she has no idea who you are, and you have no social proof from the environment, you have no status in the environment, there's no reason why she should rate you as a 5 or above without interacting with you first. It's through the interactions where they get to know you and judge by your behaviors the type of person that you are, that attraction is allowed to build. And if you just bail out within 3 seconds, you're never going to allow that to take place. However, yes, of course, after you've had a solid interaction, if the person is clearly not interested in you, move on. But don't expect them to have judged you properly after only 3 seconds. You really need to have an interaction together first. And even more importantly, you should be coming with the mindset of you will need to interact with them so you can find out if they're a cool person. So if you can find out if they're a person you want to be spending time with and investing in a relationship with. So the interaction is as much for you as it is for them. So while the book, How to Be a 3% Man, gives a lot of really good anecdotal examples of what behaviors you should do to better attract women, it often fails to clarify the underlying reasons why women find these behaviors attractive to begin with. For the reader who desires a more complete understanding of the core principles behind attracting women, I would recommend my own book, Fundamentals of Female Dynamics. It will nicely complement Corey's anecdotal evidence by providing a deeper explanation of the underlying principles that are at play. So that's all for today, guys. I hope you got some value out of it. You can find my own book and other reference material linked to in the description below. Remember to click the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Till next time, ciao.